Hey, guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of the Constructive Liberty Podcast. It's been a while since we've done a Monday night live stream, but I had a couple of really awesome applications come in over the last couple of weeks. And so I thought I'd open it up and bring a couple of guests back and bring back the live streams from Monday evening. And tonight's guest is Adam Way. He's a dude that I've gotten to know pretty well over the last month or we're both in an online course together or a coaching program, and we're growing in friendship. He's a really awesome dude, and the awesome thing is, one of the things that we've really connected over is that we both serve the same type of clientele, both kind of in the same niche in our coaching businesses. So I thought I'd bring him on and talk about building a business with a purpose, or building a business with purpose. So, Adam, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me, Ken. Excited to be here. And just, yeah, like you said, enjoyed connecting over this past month and just excited to continue on, see where, God leads us and allow us just to be able to connect more and just bounce ideas off each other and just different things like that.
So, tell us who Adam Way is for those who don't know and have never met you or even heard of you. Who are you, and kind of what are some of the events that led you from childhood to becoming the man that you are today?
Yeah, great question. So just a little bit about me. Originally from New Mexico, Albuquerque. Um, and then I moved from there to Washington, which my mom was getting married to a guy in the military. So that brought me, transplanted me over here to Seattle, Washington area. And then, unfortunately, so like maybe the first couple of months, or maybe like let's say 5, 6 months when we first moved to Washington, my stepdad ended up passing away. So immediately as we moved over, he ended up passing away. And that kind of left us because we didn't really know anybody. The family didn't really know us, so they kind of took everything, honestly, and they left us the
Mhm.
car that we had. And so we were kind of quote unquote homeless, but we had a family friend that from church that actually took us in and really allowed us to kind of get us on our feet while we were here. And so experiencing kind of that at a young age, seeing that. Now we didn't, God always provided. So like we never necessarily like didn't go hungry or didn't, go thirsty. Like there's a lot of people who had, worse upbringings than me, but just like still experiencing that, those things kind of create things in your brain like, oh, I never want that to happen to anybody else. And so those type of things sparked in me like I want to be someone in my family that creates something that does something more. So like no one else has to be in a situation like this. And so just growing up, I remember just finding different like uh, infomercials on TV late at night. I remember Adam Morrison was one of them. Like I always remember because my name's Adam too, so I always remember his name. Actually, my name is Morris Adam Way, and so his is Adam
Oh,
Morrison. So
oh, that's awesome.
so I always remember his name. And it's funny because he does a lot of stuff for Russell Brunson. If you guys are familiar with Russell Brunson, he does a lot of stuff with him now. And so I was able to kind of actually watch him speak. So it's kind of like a full circle type of thing. Like, oh wow, he's in the
Right.
kind of similar industry. So it's kind of crazy how that worked, how God really aligned it. But he was like that first thing I bought. Don't even remember what it was, but it was just something like I got to do something. I remember just even being young, seeing like those little things on the mailbox. Probably aging myself a little bit, but used to be like things in mailboxes where you just peel off like, hey, call this number if you want auto work or if you want this. And one was like, do you want to build a business? It's like, oh, I'm going to save this for the future. And I was young, maybe it was like
Mm.
12, 8. So it was like, it was something I always kept in my mind. Like, I want to have a business. I want to start something, or this guy is teaching something that I want to desire. Um, and so with that, I went through the school system though, like most of us. And so they typically don't teach that. They teach go to school, get a good education, get a good job. And so I had that in mind, but then I had everybody else telling me that I need to go this path. And so I went the traditional path. So, went to school for accounting, worked in the banking industry for 10 years, but I know that was that spark that was still inside of me of wanting to do more. Been around network marketing, which is MLM. So been able to experience this element was really focused on personal development too. So it really put me in personal development. So like at the age of 21, I was doing a lot of not partying, but I was doing a lot of reading books, motivational things, getting around businessmen and women. And so it really started to increase my capacity. Like, okay, I want to learn more about business. I want to do business. I believe God has called me to be in business. And so fast forward, like I said, 10 years been in the banking industry. I was getting to a point where it's like, I don't want to be here. There's things that are nagging. I was doing a lot of extra work that I wasn't getting paid for. All those things that most people, if they've experienced a job and they felt that like pain in a job, like I was feeling. And so I felt like God was really calling me to something else. And so April of 2020, I finally, I talked to my wife about investing into a coach to learn how to build a business. And at this time, it's a loan signing business. And so
Mm,
with that is if you're not familiar, you just people want to buy a home, they sell a home, refinance. I go and get the notary work signed. I get their paperwork signed, and so that's that business that I saw a coach do, and he's teaching people how to do it. And so that was like a first big investment that I made into myself into that. And then it was, like I said, April 2020. So it was during that time right before COVID hit. So I made the decision like, okay, I had enough saved. I had maybe like 3 months worth. Okay, if I don't make this work, I can always kind of go back. But if I do, I'm gonna take that leap of faith. I believe God has called me to it. And so I took that leap of faith, and uh, everybody knows COVID hit, and I was like, oh God, is this the right decision? Nothing's happening. Like I just left a secure job, paycheck, nothing's going on. But like immediately, like once everybody kind of figured stuff out, it like that business just took off, and
wow.
relationships opened up, doors opened up for me that I didn't think was going to open, and so God just really provided, and that business just took off. But the thing with that, it's attached to the real estate market, and so if you know anything about real estate, sometimes you got the ups, you got the downs. And so that was like that next thing was like, okay, this I think was like the catapult to get me into really entrepreneurship and doing more and kind of depending on myself, depending on God, really more than anything, to provide. But then he transitioned to me like, there's a lot of things that you've learned over these course of these years through people I brought around you, things you learned, and now it's time to like take what you've learned and be able to help coach others who are behind you, or one step behind you, 5 steps behind you. And so that's kind of what led me to, I believe, the coaching industry and wanting
Yeah.
to help people and have a desire to help people in this area.
Wow. That's quite a story. I'm always interested in kind of how people or the events that led people to where they are, and especially in entrepreneurship, it's definitely a different mindset than get a job, go to work 9 to 5 or 7 to 5, or if you're in construction, it seems like it's never ending. It can be
Yeah.
7 to 3 one day and 6 to 8 at night the next day, and it's yeah, but I'm always intrigued at what led people, to starting out in business for themselves, or what planted that bug in their mind. And I had to
Mm-hmm.
think. I was going through kind of an exercise this morning, not a physical exercise, but a kind of a brainstorming thing, and I had to think back to when I was a child. There was a guy that came to church who was a missionary, and I loved him. I loved hearing him speak, loved his stories. And then, so I told my mom and dad, I want to be a missionary someday. And in my little, I don't know, 3, 4, 5-year-old mind, that meant going overseas somewhere and preaching to people.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of how that's played out is, my faith showing out in the businesses that I build. That's how it's
Mm-hmm.
played out today. Maybe that changes in the future. I don't know. But I'm always intrigued and interested to hear how people transition from childhood to maybe a job to the entrepreneur thing. It's really fascinating to me. Our topic today is building a business with a purpose. And that's one of my favorite things to talk about is purpose, because I call myself the why guy, talking about
Mm-hmm.
purpose. So I love asking people, what does purpose mean to you? How do you define purpose?
Yeah, Ken, that's a great question. How do you define purpose? So for me, I really, and this is my belief, is that I grew up in the church, raised in the church, all my life. But there was a point where I came to like, okay, a lot of people have said many things, preachers have said many things, but like, what does it say for me? Like, let me get in there and define what this word means for me. And it really led me to reading the word, uncovering who God is for me, like who Jesus is, and like under really unpacking that, right? And so when I look at purpose, I believe that God is the creator of everything. He's the creator of the heavens, the earth, the water, the trees, us individually, right? And so he was the creator. He created everything for a purpose, on purpose, and so he crafted everything together. And it says it, and I think it's Jeremiah, that he knit us together, right? So how we would look, the hair that we have, how much weight we can hold, the height. So everything about us was built. But first, he built a purpose. And so I like to use an example like this binder clip right here, right? Think of the person who was the creator of this. So the creator, there was a problem that needed to be done, right? And so there was a purpose for this. What was the purpose? So like the problem was people needed to get paper together, and all paper was scattered everywhere, and they needed to try to find a way to put it together. So the creator built this part perfectly. He built this part perfectly, built this part perfectly. And then he made that purpose for that to be done, to put the papers together. So same thing for you, like your purpose, you got to go to your creator to find out what your purpose is, what he designed you for. So that way you can really know, whether it be business, whether it be like it doesn't matter. It's like your purpose in general. Like he created something for you to do, and he created a purpose, and then he put everything inside of you to go and do that. And so I believe purpose is definitely attached to who your creator is, whoever designed you, whoever you think that is. For me, I believe God is the creator of everything. So I believe he's the one who put purpose in each of us.
Awesome. I love that explanation. That's very closely aligned with the way I describe it as well. Just kind of a quick aside, going off the business topic, how, and I don't know if you can go through this quickly or not. This could be a whole episode in itself, but how can somebody find what their purpose is?
Yeah. So some of the tips I recommend is, it's almost kind of doing what I did, is literally, okay, if I believe God is my creator, then I'm going to go sit in silence. What I mean by that is that most of the time we're looking for like this big sign in the sky, like this is your purpose, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's mostly, it could happen, possibly, like God could do anything, like
For
he
some
could draw
people,
the
it
clouds.
seems to be that way. It hasn't been that way for me.
Right, yeah. But like I think we're gonna find in everyday things that we do too. So like if we just sit in silence, because we're so on the go, there's so many distractions, so many things going on, that I think we just need to sit down, like, and give yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes of just silence, because we have everybody speaking, TV, television, social media at this level, at a level 10. Our thoughts are like at a level 6, and God's like probably speaking at a level 2, but we can't hear him because there's so many things, so many distractions.
Right.
So like, can we get in silence, get clear, listen for him, spend that time in prayer, and then open your Bible, and then just God, reveal what's your purpose for me? Why did you create me? Like, why did you put me here? And then expect to open, like, as you're walking through your day-to-day life. Now you're going just your day-to-day life, walking, like, just look for things, look for God to reveal it through people, through podcasts, right? So like he can reveal it through other people too. It's not necessarily going to be an audible voice that he's going to speak, this is your purpose, but it's going to be through everyday living that we can find, like things that we are already good at, experiences that we've gone through, trials that we've been through. Like I just shared a story about, going through a homeless thing. So that drove a purpose in me to not want others to do that. So like the things that we go through can really define our purpose. That's what.
Yeah, awesome. That's a great explanation. That leads perfectly right into the next question, and that is, how important is our purpose, and how important is it to have a purpose for the businesses that we build? And along with that, dreams and goals, how does that tie into building a business? It's easy to look around and see businesses that, maybe the people that started them weren't in love with it. They just started it for the money because it's a great business and a great business model, and that's all it is. But they don't love the work that they do. How important is it to have that purpose, the dreams, and the goals when we start a business?
That's a great question, Ken. Yeah. So I believe it's everything. There's a couple of scriptures I'll use. Just I like to like go to words just because that's where I believe that where truth comes from. And so um, I believe it's Colossians, but or no, sorry, Proverbs is the first one, which is talks about the man without vision, or people without vision will perish, right? And so
Right.
it's literally telling us like we got to have a vision of where we're going. Why? Because there's a plan that God has for us. There's plans that we have, but there's also plans that the enemy has for us, right? And so if we're not focused, we have no target. We're never going to hit it. So if we're just wandering, aimlessly with no purpose, no desire, no dream, no vision, then we're going to have so many people trying to pull us to their vision, or we're going to have the enemy trying to take you where he wants to take you. And so not having a vision, not having a desire focus of where you want to go, you're bound to fall for whatever is going to come your way. The next scripture that I like to use this is Ecclesiastes 5:3, and it says, "A multitude of dreams comes through business. A multitude of dream comes through business," and so it's in the King James version. And so basically saying your dreams that you desire, that you want, will come through business, come through you pursuing your purpose, come through you pursuing whatever God put in you, and you'll have all the dreams that you desire by you in pursuit, walking step by step with God in pursuit of your purpose, in pursuit of your business. And I believe, right, it has to be a God-sized dream though. Like we have dreams, like I got this dream to do this, I got a vision to do this, but it's most of the time it's dependent on you. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, my dream and goals dependent on me, then it's not really, I don't think that's really a purpose that came from God. It's dependent on you. But if I have a God-sized dream that's so big, like, God, I need you to show up because I'm not gonna be able to do this on my own. You put
Yeah.
this in me. So like I need your help. I need the connections that you know about that I don't know about. And so have a God-sized dream. So that way, whatever comes out of it, like you're gonna be able to know that, like, okay, I was in purpose because I depended on God, not on myself to get this done.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. How and I was gonna ask something inside of that, and it went whoosh. On to the next question. I'll come back to that. I'm sure it'll come back to me. But what about like to the person who knows that, they have a purpose, but maybe they don't know it just yet. And they like the idea of starting their own business and serving other people. And that reminds me of what I was going to say a second ago. How does somebody like that get started? Like I don't know, I've had a job all my life
Mm.
and I kind of know what I'm good at, but I want to have my own business. Where do I start? And how do I tie my purpose into that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So I typically what I call is like the 8 P's. So it's the 8 P's to producing a profitable Christ-centered based business. And so that's kind of the pathway I teach. Like if you don't know anything, if you just maybe have an idea, maybe you know your purpose, maybe you don't, it is really I take them through like that process. And um so the first P, I'll go through them like kind of briefly, really fast. But the
Sure.
first P is purpose. So finding your purpose, so there's some questions that I ask, that I typically ask people. But most of it is like seeking your creator, but finding your purpose that God created you for. And then the second one is people. So find the people that you're called to serve. Like you mentioned, I believe we're all called to serve a group of people. We're all put here to shepherd a flock, a group of people. And so finding the people that you're called to serve. And then from there, there's a problem that these group of people have, right? And so what is the problem that these group of people have that you can solve, that you can help out with? So what are the let me go back. So what's the problem for the people that you're purpose for? And then understanding that you're the premium solution to help them out. Like you are that solution that God created you to help those people out. And so you're creating a solution, an offer to put together a premium one that can help these people with their problem that you're purpose for. And then number five is promoting. So like they're not going to know that you're there unless you spread your light. There's a scripture in
Right.
Matthew. It says five. I think it's 5 verse 3, but it says no one takes a light and hides it under a bowl. Like it says, spread your light so it brings glory to God. So like we all have a light that God put in us to spread
Right.
out to let people know, hey, I'm open for business. My business is meant to help you out with the problem that you have. So here I am, like I'm here. So you got to promote it. But if you don't, then you're not going to be able to produce any sort of business. Whether it's like a marriage, like even in your relationship, like I got to let people know, like, hey, I'm either married or I'm single. I'm available. Like you got to get out there and promote.
Right.
I'm not saying you go everywhere, but I'm saying like, for example, like you're just going to like let people know like, hey, I am looking for at this moment. And then from there, number 6 is promised land. So what are these promised land results? If we think of the Bible, Moses led the people to the promised land. There's an ultimate result and desire that people want that you can help them out with, and you're helping them get there with your step, with your system, whatever you're going to help them out with, your experiences, your past. You can help them get there. And then the last 2 is pay it forward. And these kind of are really the driving factors. That kind of ties into dream, is like paying it forward, meaning you want to be able to further God's kingdom. Hopefully it's like you mentioned at the very start of the podcast. Some people start businesses just for profit. That's only lasts so long. But if you have a really hard driven purpose out of that, like I want to actually pay it forward. I want to help God's people out. I want to move whatever he wants me to do. I want to take the money that he gives me and understand it's not mine. It belongs to him. Everything belongs to him. And I can just be a flow. So from him to me to others, and he's going to continue to flow because I'm a good steward. And so paying it forward. And then the last one is pleasure. Like it's okay to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Right. So you got to be okay. And I try to challenge people was like, think of $10K a month that you had in your budget to spend on yourself. What would you do? And that throws a lot of people off. Like, oh, I don't know if I would spend that much just on my personal, but like, just think about it. Like if you had in your budget to do it, what would you do it? And it could be attached to a memory. Like I want to buy this old model car because my grandpa used to drive this car. So like it can have a deep emotional affection to it. And so those are like steps I take people through, but really it's uncovering those mostly more I teach more than anything is the people that you're called to serve. And it's really just probably you 1 or 2 years ago. Like what have you overcome? Like my wife, she I'll share a little bit too. So like we went through a miscarriage, right? And so she gained weight through that, and it was really emotional, and so she got on a weight loss journey, and she lost 40 pounds. I forgot how much time, but she lost 40 pounds. And so there's lots of other people who've gone through similar experiences, similar hurts, that she's now decided to build her coaching and help them out. It doesn't have to be 100 pounds. It's just 40 pounds. So because she lost 40 pounds, she can teach other people who've never lost any pounds, who've never lost 39 pounds. So you just have to be, 1 or 2 steps ahead. And so if you don't know your purpose, don't know who that is, it's like, just understand, like it could be found in what you already know, what you've already been through, what you've already experienced. God's already placed it inside of you. You just now got to start walking into it.
Yeah. I love that. I'd never heard you lay out the 8 P's like that before. I've heard you talk about it a little bit, but run through those real quick again, just naming the 8 P's, and somebody put those up in the comments as well.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So yeah, purpose, finding your purpose, finding the people you're called to serve. There's a problem that I believe God created you for. And then you're the premium solution. So having a premium solution offer for those people, and then promoting. So promoting, let it shine your light, letting people know that you're open. You're open for business. You're helping them out, and then you're helping them lead them to the promised land. In just another quick example with that, if we know the story of Harriet Tubman, right? Harriet Tubman escaped. She got to the promised land, but she didn't just stay there. She went back and reached back and helped other people. And I believe God has got you through something. God has allowed you to overcome things for you to reach back out and help other people out. Right. And then the last 2 is pay it forward, furthering God's kingdom, and then pleasure. So those are the 8 P's.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. And going back to that thing that I forgot that I was going to say, kind of talking about the purpose, which is your first P. The way I define purpose is, it fits perfectly in with the 8 P's that you just laid out there. Purpose is simply us using our gifts, our knowledge, our talents, abilities, and taking those things that God gave us and serving other people with that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that's where purpose and fulfillment and all of that stuff comes in at. You can look at people that, they might be the wealthiest people in the world, not fulfilled. Like they hate their life. Some of them end up committing suicide. Right. It's because they don't have that. They're not serving somebody else. We're given what we're given, in order to serve other people with it. And that's where that fulfillment issue comes in. And I see a lot of people missing out on that. And kind of playing along with that, tying in back into the business aspect of it. What if there's other people that are in the same niche or in the same industry, kind of doing the same thing we want to do? Like you and I are kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that something that we're fighting over the same piece of pie for, to talking about the people that we want to serve? Or is the pond big enough? Like, are there enough people out there for both of us to serve in the same industry?
Yeah, great question, Ken. Yeah, and so really, I like how you mentioned just us. So for an example, like this is really rare for someone to kind of have the same niche, be in the same industry, and invite on the podcast and invite on live stream to talk, because most people are thinking, oh, I got competition and they're gonna steal my clients, or like they're gonna steal my stuff. And so there's so many things like that out there. But what I see is like there's no competition in the kingdom. Like God created each of us for a specific purpose. So think of, I don't have a pencil on me, but a pen and a pencil, right? You would think they're in competition, like they both kind of have a similar purpose. So see, oh, perfect. You get it. So I'm the pen, you got the pencil, right?
Yeah.
So you're the pencil, I got the pen, and they both can be used for writing. Each of them have a unique purpose. They're built to serve a different group of people. And so, like I said earlier, I believe God has placed you, Ken, over a specific group of people that if I came in and spoke to those people, they wouldn't listen to me because I'm not their shepherd, but you are, right? And I'm the shepherd over other people, where you can give the greatest talk. You can come in and give the greatest talk ever, like the best talk in history, and they won't listen to you because you're not their shepherd. But they might listen to someone else who just says one word and like, oh, yep, that's me. Like the Bible says, yeah, right. The Bible says the shepherd hear and they know the voice, right? So, or the sheep know the voice of the shepherd. And so there's no competition between me and you or whoever's out there. But a great thing is like find those people and work with them, partner with them, pick their brain, model after them, and you can model after what people have done successfully. Like, so there's things that me and Kim will talk about later on after this too, of like, oh, I like the way you said that, I like the way you do that, and we can add that to our audience. And really, ultimate goal is to bring glory to God and make sure that these people that we are called to serve get helped in the best possible way. And whether it be with Ken, maybe someone from my audience, Ken is actually their shepherd. I was just the one to sow the seed, and he's now the one to take over and play. Like that's fine, because I know that it's going to come back from somewhere else. So like there's no lack, right? So that's a lot of times we're thinking there's lack in their kingdom, but there's no lack because God is the head and we're bringing glory to him. So Ken's gonna be able to teach and shepherd over his flock, and I'm gonna be able to shepherd over my flock. So same thing with you who are watching, is like you don't have to worry about that, because you're going to be able to have a group of people that you're called to serve and speak to, and they're going to follow you. They're going to trust you. They're going to like you. They're going to purchase your program, your coaching, whatever you might be doing, because God has already ordained those people for you.
Mm-hmm. I like that. That's a really good example. You're really good at coming up with the examples with things off your desk. That's inspiring there.
I used to so I've been like kind of, I think since I was younger in church, they would always have me do something, and so I'm very visual, so I always come up with examples. So typically when I preach or I do something, I have to have some sort of example with me.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's awesome. It's one of the things that I can say that I'm gifted in as well. Similar to that, maybe not necessarily a physical object like that, but telling a story or creating a story to illustrate an example or a point, or to help somebody understand something. And usually that plays out with my wife, and she's working through something. She was a school teacher for the longest time, and it's like these people are just getting to me, and so I kind of tell a little story to help her work through that. She'd be like, oh, okay, I get it now. So it's really cool when you have those gifts and can use those. So I got to ask, do you have a business degree, or did you have to go get a business degree to get started as an entrepreneur? Should somebody get a business degree? Like what's the benefits or downfalls of not having one?
Yeah, great question. So now I'm going to have my opinion, right? And there's other people are going to have their own opinion. but in my opinion, so I did go to school for accounting. Like I was mentioning earlier, I got an accounting degree. I was continuing on to get my bachelor's, but what I did, which was so different, is I got around an accountant, a CPA. I got around a couple of CPAs, and I asked them questions. I wonder, like, what's their lifestyle look like? What are they doing? And then when I found that out, it's like, wow, I don't want that lifestyle, right? And they
Yeah.
made great money, but like they were apart from each other. They were both CPAs, a husband and wife. They were apart from each other most of the time. They had to drop their kids off at daycare a lot of the times, and so they were really stressed at work. And so, um, for me, I decided like, okay, instead of me looking to have a degree like colleges, I mean, like as schools told me, like my parents have told me, like, let me just find someone of the lifestyle I want and see the experience that they have in it. Like, what is their experience going through this? And then I'm going to learn from them. Versus, so if I went to school for business degree, um, again, in my opinion, the person that I'm learning from has never done what I'm trying to do. They might have, maybe they build a small business, but currently they're not doing it, right? And so I would rather learn from someone who has built it, who's done it, who's currently in the process of pursuit, and I can follow them because now they're doing it. So an example of that is, let's say I want to learn how to swim, and I have a person who has a degree in swimming. They've studied every technique, mastered it, the backstroke, the front stroke, whatever, all the different strokes that you do in swimming, right? They've mastered it, but they've never actually jumped in the pool for themselves. Versus the other person who's
Mm,
been swimming since they were 5 years old. They've been in classes, they've been trained, they have experience in that. I don't care their age, I don't care their height, I don't like, I'm going to learn from them because they've actually have experience being in the pool versus someone who's just studied it all and never actually applied it. And so, in
right.
my opinion, right now, if you're going to be a doctor, go get your degree. We want you to know everything about our body so you can work on it, right? Please
Like,
do
oh, I meant to
that.
take out his spleen, not his liver. My bad.
Right. But yeah, but as far when it comes to business, like I even recommend people is like, go network marketing and MLM businesses. A lot of my business knowledge I've been able to get around from business people, and they reference business books. So like they taught me more about business than I ever did like in around like accounting in school, even taxes. Like I've
Hmm.
learned more from just being around business people who are actually doing it versus just the book knowledge. And again, so that's my opinion, but that's what I'm sticking to.
It's really interesting when you talk to a lot of entrepreneurial people. They have the same opinion. I mean,
Right.
it's like you're not going to learn as much about running a business sitting in class as you are actually running a business. And you're
Yeah.
going to spend a lot less money. You know, if you want to learn about business and you're fresh out of high school, go buy your little lawnmower at the pawn shop and start cutting grass. You're going to make a little bit of money. You're not going to spend the hundreds of thousands on the business degree or however much they are these days. And you're going to learn a lot more. Somebody else put it this way, you grow a lot more professionally and personally once you start a business. Like, you'll never
Mm,
expand yourself and who you are as much as when you run a business. And that's
hmm
been true in my case. Very true. How does somebody, you know, if they want to start a business, but they've come from, you know, maybe the poverty background. They
mm.
were homeless at one point. They don't have, seems like they have nothing going for them. How can they change their mindset from one of lack, one of scarcity, one of I don't have what I need, to actually I have everything I need. I just have to start where I am with what I have. How do you make that switch with your mindset there?
Yeah, this literally I could talk on hours and hours about, but I
Uh,
won't end it right now. But one scripture I like to use is actually one of my favorite scriptures, and it's Romans 12:2. It says, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind." So that
mm,
scripture is saying like we have to renew our mind on a daily basis, and we've all had programming, things that have entered in that have come to us since we were younger, through our parents, through teachers, through friends, through TV, through music, like you name, like every single place has put something in us. And I believe that the results that you have in your life right now, whether it be abundant, whether it be scarce, it's it comes from your mindset. Like what was in your mind, like where you are right now is a direct result of that. And so I
Yeah.
like to break this down. I call this like how to renew your mind and reshape your destiny. So first off, it's your association. So whoever you're around. So again, I mentioned whether it's God, the Bible, whoever is you're around constantly, who you're allowing to input in your life, it starts there. And so I would check yourself like, so who am I around? Who are the top 5 people that I'm around? And then from there, it's like, okay, what are they inputting into my life? Are they inputting good things? Because good things go in, then good things are going to come out. Bad things come in, then bad things are going to come out. And so, what are they inputting? What am I allowing through my ears, through my eyes, through like all the senses that God gave me? Like, so there's stuff that is being inputted over and over. Maybe I've been called ugly over and over all my life, and I'm eventually going to start, believing that. So it goes
Right.
from your input right to your thoughts. So what am I thinking on constantly? What are the things that I'm pondering on? Am I thinking that I'm not good enough? Am I thinking I can never build a business? Am I thinking I don't have gifts that God has given me? And then whatever I'm thinking on, I'm pondering on, right? Those become my words. So I start to speak them out. And so I speak out like, hey, I'm not good enough. You're right. I can't build a business, or I can't do this, or I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the skill set. And those words become, it says in the Bible, are words have the ability to create, life or death, right? In the power of the tongue. And so I'm either speaking life or I'm speaking death over myself, over my circumstances, over my situation. And then from those words, right, they become my belief. So I speak on, so everything I speak, it becomes my belief. So now I'm believing I can't build a business, then you're not going to. If I believe that I'm not good enough, then yeah, you're going to show up that as you're not good enough. And then those beliefs eventually become like your actions. And so we only act on things that we believe. I don't act on things I don't believe. If I don't believe that if I go to this light right now and turn it off, that the lights are going to shut off, I'm not going to act on it. But because I believe that it will happen, I'm going to act on it and off of my beliefs. And so whatever you're acting on, it's a sum of your beliefs that you've been believing on, your stories that you've been telling yourself. And then from that, like our repeated actions over and over again eventually become our habits. And so good habits, bad habits, it's just the result of the actions that we constantly did over and over and over and over, things that we've repeated to ourselves over and over and over and over. Right. And then those actions and those habits turn into our character. That's who we start becoming. We start becoming those things that we constantly do, those things that we constantly speak, those
Mm-hmm.
things that we constantly say. And then who you're becoming leads to the results that you have. So kind of backtracking. So if you want success with money, with relationships, with your spouse, with business, it's a direct result of the actions that you took, the habits that you have, the words that were spoken over you, the thoughts that you constantly speak on, the input that you're constantly putting in your mind, and then your association. So all of it starts with your mind and the people you're around, and that's going to lead to either successful results or worse results. And really, like just my example from my story is I could have stayed where I was. Like I didn't know, a lot of the men in my family. I single grew up mainly being raised by my single mom. Right. I was homeless for a season of time. So like all that stuff, I could allow those words and things that people spoke over me to lead me to having lack results in my life and not believing that God has more for me. But I decided to get myself around different people who spoke life into me, and I allowed that to input. I started reading great material, listening to positive stuff, positive motivation, getting in the Word. So that stuff then began to lead me thinking like, oh, God has more promise for me. I can do more. I can actually help for more. He's called me for more. And now it's leading me on a path for more successful and abundant results than versus lack
Oh man,
results.
that is so good. Inputs, thoughts, speech, beliefs, actions, results. Love that. That's powerful. If we can get a hold of that first, or if we can begin to understand that cycle, then we can go back to the very beginning and start that input that eventually will compound into the results that we want. That is so good. And I think that's a great place to end it. Is there anything you would like last words for the podcast that you'd like to leave us with as we close it out tonight?
Yeah, and then just again, thank you, Ken. I appreciate you just having this podcast. I'm like I said, excited to get to work with you more. But if I was to leave one more thing, is just like it's already in you. whatever you're desiring, whatever you're looking to do, if you're watching, like God has placed everything He needed inside of you to go and do what He has called you to do. So if you're on here and you're looking for a business or you're looking to have a better relationship, like it's already there, and just start seeking those who God can place around you who can help you get there. Whether it's listening to Ken's podcast, over and over to get that stuff on repeat, getting some great stuff in your mind, so that way you can start learning great things that can lead you to a great life. And so I just
Mhm.
encourage you guys to really just dive in the Word for most importantly, because that has a
Yeah.
lot of great wisdom, a lot of business wisdom, a lot of finance wisdom, all in the Word. Like it's a manual of how we can live this life here on earth very well. And so get in the Word and start opening your eyes and seeing the different things that God has already designed and planned, and then you just start walking in it, and don't shy from it. It's your time. He's calling you right now. This is the season. Don't wait. Take action.
Go do it. Take action. How can somebody get into your world and follow you, find out more of what you're about?
Yeah. So um, countless ways. So if you TikTok, if you want to follow me on TikTok, it's at Adam Way. I think Adam Way, the number one. Instagram is Adam Way 10. And then if you want to, I typically do, like, I teach us the 5-day challenge as well. I have a wait list right now before we start the next challenge. So we'll reach out to, if you want to join the wait list, you can. That's at buildyourownministrybusiness.com/5-day challenge. Or like, you can come join the Facebook group where we just talk about this stuff as well. So that's the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/ I think build your own ministry business. And so those are different ways you can get a hold of us or a hold of me, or you can always DM me, whatever. I'm always happy to reach out and connect and meet new people and help you out.
Awesome. I'll have those links down in the show notes. And if somebody, if you connect with them, because we all connect better with different people, or resonate better, I guess would be a better word, with different people. So I'm sure, hopefully you'll get a lot of new people out of this. So I really appreciate your time tonight. It's been a good and fun conversation. One of my favorite topics. So
Yeah.
hopefully we'll do this again soon.
Yes, hopefully soon. It's great talking to you.
Have a great night, everybody. Go do good work.
Yes, amen.